Hello, everybody. Let's get some people in here. When you come in the room, tell us you're here, tell us where you're from, and let's talk about some virtual wholesaling.
What's going on, everybody? Excited to be here today. Looking forward to the session we got. Going to go over some really exciting stuff, and I'm excited most of all to be your ambassador for Florida.
That is very cool. We're getting some cool ambassadors on board. I'm pretty excited.
Yeah, it's a great community you got here. I love it.
That's the goal, is to get, it's going to be hard in some states. I don't know what kind of ambassador I can get for North Dakota, but but for all the other states, for all the big states. So
I think there's like 5 houses there, so that's okay.
Yeah. Right, North Slope, Alaska. Some places like that. Diana, Jeanette, Sharon, Terrion, Angela, Terrence, man, all the good people in the house.
Love that. Lots of engagement on the platform too. I love that. There's lots of people asking questions. It's a great community. I love it. I love the app, by the way, like logging in and just seeing everything there, and everything's broken down. This is fantastic. I think wholesaling's needed this for a very long time.
Yeah, I do too. We talked about that with I made a post the other day though about Bigger Pockets and Connected Investor, and they're good, very good platforms, but they're not wholesaler friendly, right?
No.
And I wanted to do something for wholesalers to be around other wholesalers. So
yeah, for sure.
Why I'm saying that, if anybody wants to join Wholesaling Partners that's not already on there, you can go to my.wholesalingpartners.com and sign up. So I want to do a quick intro here, everybody. We've got people going in the room now. Mr. Chris Logan here is our Wholesaling Partners Florida ambassador. He's running the state, going to do some Zoom meetings on a weekly or bi-weekly method, whatever he's weekly or bi-weekly schedule, whatever he seems to feel is appropriate. But just to be there to answer questions, to help maybe facilitate some JV opportunities, cover some micro topics about wholesaling, and just be your point man for Florida in Wholesaling Partners. Also, in addition to that, Chris is our virtual wholesaling expert for the platform. So what I'm doing here with virtual wholesaling launch is I just want to give Chris an opportunity to talk to everybody in Wholesaling Partners and really give them direction on virtual wholesaling. You want to start off virtual wholesaling business. You've already got a wholesaling business going, but you want to expand into other states with virtual wholesaling. Chris is here to guide us in doing that. Right. So
100%.
Right. With that said, Chris, I'm going to let you kind of take the ball in this meeting. So we're going to do this on a weekly basis. We're going to get people on here. We're going to talk about virtual wholesaling. Chris is going to walk you through different aspects of it and answer your questions. So boom, it's
awesome.
all you.
Thanks, Dave. I appreciate it, man. Hey guys, I'm really excited to be a part of the Wholesaling Partners platform here and to be your Florida ambassador. When Dave talked to me about that, and he shared with me a little bit about the goals of the community and how he's looking to help wholesalers new season take their next steps and do more deals, I was all over it. I probably answered yes before he even finished asking the question. So I'm really excited to be here, guys. And mainly too, before we dive in today, just to share with you, like if you're just getting started, right? And you're thinking in your mind, oh my gosh, I haven't even done a first deal, and we're talking virtual wholesaling, right? Just understand this. It's a lot easier than it sounds, right? Number one. And then number two, just understand too, that I've been exactly where I felt the same way, even if I'd been wholesaling for a while. Local wholesaling, driving to sellers, meeting them, and then switching to virtual was a big change for us. So my goal here as your Florida ambassador is to break down for you guys in baby steps so you can understand how this works and how it's not scary at all. It's not complicated at all. It's actually fairly easy, and be just your leader here in the community to help you grow. Now, the other thing, guys, that I'm really passionate about too, especially when it comes to the JV, right? So lot of wholesalers out there running around doing JVs the wrong way. And so what we're going to be talking about next week, okay, is actually how to do JVs the right way. So you're going to want to go ahead and attend that, because I want you all being legal here and wholesaling the right way. And so that way, when you get a deal or another wholesaler brings you a deal or something like that, you can make sure that you're doing it the right way and have the best chance to get it closed. So we're going to be covering that next week. But this week, guys, like David mentioned, it's going to be the 5 baby steps to getting started in virtual wholesaling houses from home. There's a lot of people that don't really have time. Maybe they're working a busy schedule. You're working 60, 70 hours a week, and you don't have time to drive back and forth to houses. And you're like, man, if I didn't have to drive back and forth to houses to meet sellers, I could do so many more deals, right? If I could just focus on talking to sellers and getting leads, I could be so much more successful. On the flip side, you also have people that have been doing this for a while that's like, man, if I stopped driving to houses, I could probably talk with more sellers and do more deals too, right? So that's what we're going to break into today. I'm going to show you how to do it. So I prepared something special for you guys today. And by the way, if you guys want access to this, Dave is going to have a way for you all to have access to this giveaway here, just as my way of saying thanks and just welcoming me into the community, right? So let's go ahead and share my screen here. And I'm going to go ahead and break this down. And you guys, by the end of the day today, or by the end of our session, are going to understand 100% how a virtual wholesale deal goes from start to finish, how we run that process, so you can go ahead and get started with it today. Let me go ahead and share this real quick. All right, share screen, boom, and pick this. All right. So guys,
hang on one second. I got to add it. There we go.
Perfect. So guys, I'm really big on engagement here, and I thrive off of you guys engaging with me on the call. So what I'd like you to do is, if you guys have questions, right, I would like you to go ahead and post those questions somewhere. Dave, is there somewhere where they can post questions, or you can see their questions?
Yep, they can put it. They can put it right in the comments section, and I can read what they've got coming in.
Perfect. So guys, I don't here, right? I want you guys to be, I want to interact with you. I thrive off of that. So make sure you ask your questions. And in between some of these, we're going to be stopping and just answering some of those questions to make sure we get your questions answered. All right, guys.
First question is this going to be recorded? And the answer is yes. So there you go.
Boom. Love it. See, we're already answering questions. Love it. All right, great. So guys, one thing that I want to share with you, okay, is that, and I use this to my coaching clients, is that wholesaling, virtual wholesaling, and real estate, really real estate in general, if you want to think about it, right, is 80 to 90% mindset and 10 to 20% education. So when we talk about virtual wholesaling, right, you know, the first belief that you have, the first thing that key to master is the mindset and just believing that it's possible. There's a lot of people are like, oh, a seller will never sell you a house over the phone, right? Never happened. You know what? I said the same thing about those plastic signs that you put on the side of the road that have the shady marker written on them saying we buy houses. I'm like, no one's going to call one of those signs and sell me their house, but I did hundreds of thousands of dollars from those signs. So it's the same thing, guys. I want you to encourage, when we dive in here, I want to put any type of like feelings like you have aside and just be open to the possibility that virtual is possible, right? So that kicks off our first section here. Virtual is possible, right? And the other thing, guys, is virtual voice. So there's going to be a lot of you who are going to be like, Chris, well, what if, you know, I'm working with a seller, talking to seller on the phone, and they say that they refuse to sign a contract over the phone. They have to meet with me in person, right? So the key to making virtual wholesaling work for you is understanding this concept right here. Virtual is a choice, okay? Have to be willing to tell that seller, hey, you know, I appreciate how you feel. Unfortunately, that's not our process, but here's how we can go ahead and do this to make you feel comfortable, and we can move forward, right? There's a lot of options. You know, we can have one of our realtor partners who are our boots on the ground, which we're going to get to here in a second, go out to the property, meet the seller, and collect the contract. We can have the seller mail us the contract. We can have a notary go out there and collect the contract. There's a lot of different ways that we can do it and work it to make the seller comfortable, but you have to make a choice saying virtual is the way that I do business first, because if you waver on that, and every single time a seller says, hey, I don't want to do this over the phone, I want to meet you, you're going to always figure out a way to drive to the house. Okay. So what I want you to do, even if you go virtual in your local territory that you're in, let's say you like your local territory, you've done some deals there, or you just know that where you are is a great area, then what I would do is I would still go virtual there. We're virtual in our home market, and our home market's Tampa Bay, Florida, right? And we still don't drive to houses. Even if a seller says, I won't sign with you unless you come out to the house, right? We still won't do it out of principle, because if you flex on one, you're going to flex on all of them. Okay. So virtual is a choice. Next part here, going virtual is as simple as pulling a list. A lot of people are like, oh my gosh, it's so complicated, virtual wholesaling. How do you find buyers? I don't have buyers in other states. I don't have this. I don't have that. How do you find sellers? And guys, it's as simple as pulling a list. You can go into another state by simply pulling a list the same way you do local wholesaling, but just doing it for another state, right? And there's ways that you can figure out what areas are the best, because that's something else people ask me. They say, hey, how do you find the best territories? Well, guess what? We're going to go into that here in just a second. The next thing, guys, is one thing. This is a key concept that I share with all my clients, right? And I don't know if anyone on the call here has heard of the book called The One Thing. I actually might, let's see, I have it on my desk here. 1 second. Dude, this book right here, I want you all to get this book. This book is a game. It's written by Gary Keller. He's the owner of Keller Williams, one of the largest real estate brokerages in the country. And he wrote the book called The One Thing. And the book basically helps you focus. Too many wholesalers, whether they're new or they're seasoned, it does not matter. They're running in like 15 different directions. They wonder why they're spinning wheels and not doing deals. Okay. And the big reason for that is because they're not focused. When you get started in wholesaling, you're going to be tempted to dive into a lot of different strategies. You're going to be like, oh, I want to do flipping. I want to do virtual wholesaling. I want to do sub 2, sub 3, whatever, right? You want to do creative finance. You want to own rentals and all that stuff. And the biggest difference between the wholesalers who don't get traction versus the ones that do is the ones that do are focused on one thing. And not only is about focusing on one type of strategy, but it's also about focusing about time, being very intentional with the time that you have and not treating it like it's an endless resource that you can never run out of, because you will, right? So that being said, I want you guys to get this book, The One Thing, read it and apply it, because it's very good and it'll put you in the mindset that you need to have success. Keep in mind, guys, you only have 100% of effort. So if you split that 100% of effort into 4 different strategies, okay? You're not a transaction engineer. You're just wasting time. You're only putting 25% into each one, right? And you're never giving 100% to any one thing. So if virtual wholesaling is what you want to do, make that decision today. This is what I'm going to do. This is going to be my focus, and I'm going to run with it.
I feel like you're talking to me right now, because I'm usually working on 50 things. I feel like you're talking directly at me, and I'm kind of ashamed right now.
Well, you know what? It's not just you. It's everybody, right? All entrepreneurs have this shiny object bug where we're like, oh, yeah, that's cool. That's cool. That's cool. That's cool. Right. But what I learned this the hard way. I used to be the exact same way, and I still have to control myself with this. And that's why I read this book once a year, to keep me focused and remind myself of what's important. But we're all guilty of it. We're all entrepreneurs, and it happens. But that's when you read something like that, it brings you back and recenters you, right?
Yeah.
So, okay, step 1, pick a territory, right? This is a big question people have. People are like, how do you pick a territory? So I'm going to give you guys a really easy way to do it. And obviously, I dive deeper with this with some of my clients, but you can use this method right here to immediately pick a territory while we're on the call today. Okay. I want to give you guys actionable stuff that you can take action on today and get results, right? I'm not about fluff. I'm about giving you the stuff. So let's take a look at this, right? So what we look at, there's 2 things we look at when we're picking a territory. All right. So the first thing we look at is the population in that area. So how many people live in that area? Is there going to be enough houses to buy and sell? There's going to be enough buyers there and a strong enough demand where we can make good money there, right? So we look at the population first thing. So the first thing we look at with the population is how many people are there. We need a minimum of 250,000 people. okay, in a territory for it to check the first box for us and say, that's a great territory to start in. So
Your mic broke up a little bit there for me. Did you say, how many did you say? 200,000?
250, yeah, 250,000. And so guys, this is super simple. All you're going to do is you're going to go to Google, open up a separate tab. So you can do that right now if you like, and type in whatever county you're looking to go into, and type in whatever county. So you can type in like Hillsborough County, Florida population. And if that population is at least 250,000, first check mark, right? The second thing you want to look at is you want to look at the median home price. Now, before some of you guys are like, median home price, what the heck is that? I'm going to share it with you. It's very simple. So what you have is I want you to picture in your mind like a timeline of prices, okay? So on the far left, you have houses that are the cheaper houses, like $50,000 houses, right? And then on the far extreme right, you have the multi-million-dollar houses. So the median price is the middle price, the one in the middle. Why is that important? Because that's the everyman's house, the house that everybody wants to buy, right? And as wholesalers, we want to go after what everybody wants to buy. We don't want unique. We don't want weird. We don't want strange. We want cookie cutter, typical house that everybody wants to buy. So I'm going to go ahead and open up a separate tab here. And I'm going to show you how we would do this on Google. So give me 1 second. I'm going to pull this up, and then I'll switch my sharing to this other tab. So let's do Borough County population. So I'm going to share this here. Give me 1 minute.
Okay. Yeah, guys, I learned that going into wholesaling. You know, if it's weird, you know, that's why people don't wholesale like 1-bedroom houses or 20-bedroom houses, or, you know, something that's in an industrial park, but it's just one residential house in the middle of a building. You want something that the vast majority of people want to live in. 3-bedroom, 1-bath, 3-bedroom,
100%.
2-bath, right? You want to keep it, you know, so as many people as possible want to buy that.
100%. I couldn't agree with you more. That's really what you want to focus on. And that's a big mistake I see wholesalers do. They waste the seller's time, they waste buyer's time and their time trying to push these really strange houses. And that's one of the biggest reasons for drop deals is weird, right? So if you look at a deal and you're like, this is strange, just know that it's probably not going to be one you want to work with.
Right.
Because if you think it's strange, your buyers are going to think it's strange. Yeah. So I did a quick Google search here. Hillsborough County population, 1.4 million people. So you can see that there. And then I came over here and I'll share this other tab. And then I typed in Hillsborough County median home price to get the median home price. All right. And so you want to scroll down here and find the Zillow link. And this will show you that Hillsborough County, the median home price is $381,000. Right. So going back to our mind map that we have here, you see that 250,000 is our minimum. So Hillsborough County was 1.4 million. So that's for number one. Then we looked at step number 2, 200,000 median home price. Hillsborough County was 381,000. So bam, we have ourselves a great market to start with. All right. So does anybody have any questions on that before we keep going? I'll leave some time for
Jonathan said he's tried to wholesale some $1 million houses and he hasn't sold one yet. So yeah, there you go.
So one thing I want you guys to think of, right? And this is going to be really helpful. I want you to think of a funnel, right? I don't know if you guys can, I think you can see me, right? So it's picture a big funnel, right? And at the top of the funnel is the houses that everybody wants. And the bottom of the funnel is the really niche specific type houses, like multi-million-dollar houses. For a wholesaler, these can be really tempting because you're like, oh my gosh, I could have $100,000 fee, right? And so that's why wholesalers want to chase these. But the problem is that the more niche you get down, the more niche of a buyer you're going to have to go after. And so the smaller the buyer pool goes, right? So it's going to be really tough unless you really are experienced and know how to find buyers for those. It's going to be very, very tough to find buyers for those. Okay. So I see
a lot of people chase it because they do that. You know, somebody brand new to the business and they'll message me and they'll say, hey, can I wholesale a hotel or a gas station?
It's too advanced.
Don't do it.
Don't do it. So I like to keep it simple, right? And if you're just getting started in wholesaling, I want you to keep it simple and just focus on houses. Don't worry about townhouses, condos, anything like that. Just houses. Why? Because they're easy and everybody wants it. If you talk to some of the larger companies, right? And as we scaled our company to over 7 figures. So when you talk to larger companies, you ask them what types of houses. Do you think they're wholesaling hotels, multifamily and all these types? No, they're going to tell you it's too complicated to grow. So you got to focus on simple, which is single family houses. And that's it. I've wholesaled multifamily. I've wholesaled single family. I've wholesaled condos, townhouses, and a lot of things, right? And I've came really close to wholesaling a hotel. But what I'll tell you though, is I stopped doing all those things because I realized it was hurting my growth. And the minute I stopped doing those things was when our company took off.
Yeah.
So that's the biggest advice I could tell you guys. Keep it simple. I know the bigger assignment fees can be tempting, especially when you're just getting started, because you want to break free from that 9 to 5 and all that. I'm telling you, like, you're only holding yourself back by focusing on those types of opportunity, because those opportunities can suck the life out of you.
Yeah.
And especially if you come across like a portfolio of houses, 15, 20 houses. If you don't know how to analyze it, don't waste your time on it. Just focus on individual single family houses, and I promise you'll thank me later. So, okay, so moving on here. So growing your power team. So a lot of people are like, well, Chris, well, how do you see properties that are virtual, right? Are you making offers to the seller sight unseen? How does that work? Are you getting pictures? Is the seller taking the pictures? How does that work, right? So what we have what are called property inspectors on our team. And all this is it's a local realtor. Okay. I love local realtors. Local realtors are the best. They are familiar with taking pictures of properties. They are bound by a fiduciary responsibility. So they're not going to go around you to the seller, and they're great. So very easy to work with. You can find them in Facebook groups. Want to work with realtors who are investor friendly. And basically what they're going to do is they're going to take photos of those properties for you. And we charge, our realtors, we pay them anywhere from $50 to $75, just depending on where the property is located, like how far of a drive it is for them. And basically, again, we find these through Facebook groups, referrals, and calling local brokerages. Okay. And what we're looking for ideally is the realtor who's either brand new and looking to build their business and networking with investors, or we're looking for the realtor who is on the opposite end of their career, where they're really ramping down, looking to retire, and they're just wanting some grocery money, right? So those make great property inspectors, and I'd recommend that. And Dave, I think you actually even have a course on that. Where
I have a boots on the ground course in the in Wholesaling Partners. Yeah. So if you're in wholesaling and you want to get experience going out to a property, taking pictures, and maybe meeting a buyer and all that stuff, I have a course in Wholesaling Partners that you can take. I sell a little website template for it for $27, and then I give you all the training along with that. So so you could say, hey, I'm boots on the ground and in Tampa, and if a virtual wholesaler is buying here, you can run out for them and take pictures.
Boom, there you go. 100%. And investors are good to work with too. You want to just be selected there and just make sure you can trust the person. But no, that's a fantastic way to go about it. So that's how we get pictures. And we typically put the property under contract before we send our person out, because we don't want to spend money unless we know the seller is serious, right? Yeah. So title company and closing attorney, again, you can get these in Facebook groups and referrals. So super easy, guys. This is really our core team here for wholesaling in a different territory. So let's move on here to this next part. So picking a marketing channel. So big thing, guys, when you're starting in a new area is you want to keep your overhead low. I see a lot of wholesalers that are doing advanced things starting out, like they're buying leads. They are doing expensive direct mail campaigns. Okay. And one of the things I can tell you is that that can hurt you in the beginning if you start that stuff too early, because if you don't have your conversations done with sellers to where, if you talk to someone and there's opportunity with that, you really shouldn't be spending a lot of money on marketing first. In the beginning, it's the grit phase. You're putting in a lot of effort, a lot of work. You're getting deals for free or close to free, right? And after you get that, you're reinvesting money back into your marketing so you can, do some of the other channels where you can get deals faster. So taking a note on the page of the one thing, right? We focus on one marketing channel. A lot of wholesalers are like, hey, I haven't done a deal yet, but I'm doing like 4 things. I'm texting, I'm cold calling, I'm sending mail. I'm like, what are you No, don't do that. I did that in the beginning.
Running PPC ads and yeah.
And it's funny. They're going to go broke that way, right? So what I recommend, and my favorite strategy, guys, is cold calling 100%, because you can reach the sellers the fastest, right? There's almost no money involved in cold calling outside of getting a dialer, pulling a list, and skip tracing it. And for those who don't know what skip tracing is, you're literally just putting phone numbers to an address. That's it, right? There's services out there that can do it. I have some that I can recommend that can save you a ton of money. Let me know if that's something you're interested in, and I may even have that as a link in here somewhere. But guys, cold calling is by far the best. And when I first started, I did cold calling myself for 90 days. And then after I got some deals, I then hired a VA to do it for me. We now have a call center over in Bangladesh, and we have VAs making calls for us. And so you can do that too. But I love it because it's easy to grow. You get deals yourself, you reinvest the money, have someone else make the calls for you, you start getting leads. So we do, and the one thing I would do, like after you got cold calling down, you've hired some people to make the calls for you, you can also do like kind of niche direct mail, like sending mail to really small lists, like probate lists, lists with high motivation, just really small. So those are to do when you're just getting started. But cold calling, I would focus just on that one channel. You can have a 7-figure business off of one marketing channel, right? And so I recommend cold calling is the main one. So
when you're really focusing on when you get good at it, right?
You get good.
If you just goof around with mail or try to run Facebook ads or do all that, like Chris said, you can blow a lot of money really quick. But when you focus on one thing, you become very proficient at it, and it's a good value for your money because you're not just blowing through it trying things.
100%. And that, guys, that was my mentality. I'm so glad you brought that up, Dave. So that was my mentality when I first started with cold calling. My mentality was, okay, there's some people doing some big things with this, right? So I'm going to be an expert at this. I'm going to work on this. I don't care what type of sludge I got to push through, right? How much rejection I face. If, some days I feel like I want to quit, I don't care. I'm going to push through all that, and I'm going to become the best at this marketing channel, better than anybody of my competition, right? And I'm going to crush it with this. And I feel like we've done that. We've done it. We've grown it. We've scaled it. We've got it predictable. And that's also a service that we offer to our clients. But that's how you got to view it. Because if you're just in this to make a quick buck, right? And if you don't make money in wholesaling within a certain defined period of time in your mind, you're like, it doesn't work. It's a scam. I'm done. Right? Then you're never going to have the success you want. You got to burn the ships and saying, I don't care how long it takes me. I don't care what I have to do. I'm getting a deal. And that's that. Right? So very important. So you got to stay consistent. There's another great book that I want you guys to get called The Compound Effect by Darren Hardy. This book is very important because I feel like there's a lot of wholesalers out there, but there's not a lot of great wholesalers out there.
Yeah.
The difference between a good wholesaler or a bad wholesaler and a great wholesaler is consistency, right? And the Compound Effect book is all about small activities done every single day in, day out, whether you feel like it or you don't huge result at the end of the month. So if you're the person watching this and you're like, man, I have 1 hour a day to do this with my schedule, right? Or I have 2 hours a day to do this, then come heck or high water, doesn't matter if you don't feel like it. Matter of fact, if you don't feel like it, those are the best days. Those are the most important days to push through. But those are the days you got to be consistent. Okay. So be consistent, get that book, really good stuff. And then here's a cardinal rule of marketing that we have. I tell all my clients, don't stop what's working. Okay. This is a big problem that wholesalers have. I'll talk to them. They're like, hey, I'm like, so what are you doing for marketing right now? Because they're like, I'm kind of struggling. Okay. So I'm cold calling. Cool. I've gotten some deals there. Yeah, but I'm not doing that anymore. I'm doing direct mail and I'm really struggling with it. Or I'm driving for dollars now and I'm really struggling with it. Or they'll say these things, right? And I'll be like, well, it's pretty simple to figure out what happened. You stopped doing what was working, right? Yeah. People receive an email of a new shiny object or strategy and they're like, oh my gosh, I got to call all my leads and respond to my sellers so I can sit on the beach and sip pina coladas. Guys, just focus on what's simple and what works. Don't worry about all the noise out there. Just focus on what's simple and what works. works. And that's why I like a phone.
So I did that when I started. I was driving for dollars. I was getting deals, right? And I closed, I had some deals under my belt. I had money in the bank. And I thought, I'm going to quit driving for dollars and I'm just going to mail now. Right.
Yeah.
And I spent it was over $2,000, right? I just stopped driving for dollars.
Yep.
Got this mail campaign ready, sent it out. I'm like, a few days it's going to hit. I'm going to get all these calls and everything. Nothing.
Yep.
Right. I dumped like $2,200 and
Same
and
thing
it was
happened to me.
crickets. Right. I'm like, all right, back to the driving for dollars. Right.
Yeah.
But if you find something, keep at it, double down on it. Right.
100%. That's the thing. Like, it can be a humbling experience, You do some driving for dollars, you get some deals, and you feel like you're an expert all of a sudden. Like, so now you're like, I'm just going to throw money at this and see what happens. And you do it, and you're like, oh, okay, maybe I need to go back to driving for dollars. Right? So it's so important, guys. These are wholesaling mistakes, and ask me how I know I've made these mistakes. So is Dave. Like, we've been there, and our thing is learn from the mistakes of others so you don't have to make those mistakes yourself, right? This next part here, step number 3, cash buyers. Okay. So, drop deals are expensive, guys. So we have a method, and we call it the FYBF method. What does FYBF stand for? Find your buyers first. Most wholesalers struggle to do deals because they're going after sellers first. And they're listening to all these coaches out there saying, if you have a good deal, it'll sell itself. Well, guess what? Most new wholesalers don't know what a good deal looks like, right? And most experienced people, if you're looking to another area and you haven't built a buyer's list there and you're marketing for sellers, well, you're going to drop a lot of deals and they can be very expensive, right? Drop sellers' biggest expense. I don't care what anybody else says. That's what it is. And so you want to find your buyers first. Don't overcomplicate this business. Wholesaling all depends on being successful in doing deals. 100% depends on your buyer. If you have a good buyer's list, right? So you want to build that first. If you're brand new, I recommend not starting to market for sellers until you get 100 cash buyers on your list. This is much easier than it sounds. And you want to find out what they want, then go shopping for what they want. Simple, right?
Simple.
So there's 3 types of buyers, and there's a lot of misinformation out there about who you should have on your list. When I first started, all the coaches told me you only want to have cash buyers on your list. You don't want wholesalers because they're just going to blast your deal all over the place. And, and they'll tell you that wholesalers are your competition, which that's totally not true. I mean, you guys know that because you're wholesaling partners, right? But, and they'll say things like realtors are the devil. They hate wholesalers. All that stuff is just terrible information that's false, right? So, you want a combination of 3 contacts on your buyer's list. You want cash buyers, wholesalers, okay? Cash buyers, wholesalers, and realtors. Where do you find these? If you're just getting started, or even if you're doing this for a long time, Facebook groups are by far the easiest way to get cash buyers, okay? You join every single Facebook group that's geared towards real estate investment in an area that you're going into. You start networking with people. You start seeing who's commenting on the deals, who's posting the deals. Send them a DM, reach out to them. If they said they're looking to buy a deal, see if they're looking to buy more. Get their email, add them to your list. It is that simple. So that goes for wholesalers, right? The reason you want wholesalers on your list is because sometimes you may not have a buyer for a deal, but another wholesaler may, right? And so you want to have them on your list, and they'll bring a buyer. They can put their fee on top, and boom, they'll have a buyer that you could have never gotten. Maybe it's a personal relationship, a friend, a contractor, whatever the case is. They're buying deals. They have them, you don't. And that's the reason you want to have them on there. We've done a lot of business with wholesalers. I love wholesalers. I love selling deals for them. I love selling deals with them, having them sell my deals, all the above, right? So realtors. Realtors are also great to have on your list. They're not your competition. Realtors can bring buyers that'll pay more than any other buyer you can find, right? These buyers are used to paying retail. Okay. So they will pay, and it's been proven that their buyers will pay more than any buyer you could find out there. I have realtors that have out of the country buyers that live out of state, right? And they will, or out of state and out of the country, right? So these are people I could never meet. They bring them to the't and we make money. So places you can find these, you can find these here on, PropStream. If you get PropStream, you can go to this link here and get PropStream. That's what we use to find cash buyers. That's one of the tools we use. Again, Facebook groups, that's a free source. You can find wholesalers on PropSaler and realtor. So all those are the types of contacts you want to have on your list. Now we can hop into motivated sellers, right? So your marketing list must have motivation, especially in this market. Okay. So if you're doing driving for dollars now, guess what? You can do virtual driving for dollars in another area. A great target right now is people that are downsizing. Okay. There's 10,000 baby boomers turning 65 every single day, and they're all retiring, and they're looking to move in with their son or their daughter, downsize to that beach condo. They don't care about interest rates. They don't care about how prices have skyrocketed. They're looking to decrease the expenses in their life, right? And so senior owners are fantastic, and you can pull that list in PropStream. So that's a big list that we target right now. And if you add on any more of these type of motivations, it just makes that person even more motivated to sell. Liens is a great list here. We look at homeowners that have liens with 5K or more. In code violations, you look at that. You can find those in PropStream. Delinquent tax, people who are 2 years behind in their taxes. You can't target people who are 1 year because it's too soon. Pre-foreclosure with no auction date set, right? So if you're brand new to wholesaling and you're going to work pre-foreclosures, you got to be respectful of their situation, all right? You don't want to, if you don't have a buyer and you lock up a deal, you don't want to try and sell that deal. They run out of time. They think you're moving forward and they lose their house. You don't want to do that. So if you
happens.
It does.
Yeah.
And so, but not moving forward today because you guys are watching this and that's not going to happen anymore. Right. So no auction date set. That's really a really big thing. Okay. You want to be respectful of the situation. So I wouldn't even touch these unless you have buyers and you know for a fact you can move it. Or you have a wholesaler relationship who says they have a buyer and they know they can move it. Tired landlords, a great list right now. Again, you can pull this in. It's people that own rental properties and they've owned them for like 15, 20 years or more. Okay. These guys are tired of tenants and toilets. They've tried to time the market. They were not successful at it. And now they're like, shoot, I got to sell this thing before, values go down. Right. So they're really wanting to sell right now, and you can target them in state and out of state. And the list goes on, guys. These are some really great lists here. Dave will provide this to you guys so you can have access to it. And then you can even stack these lists like one on top of each other using batch leads. This is another software where you can store lists and you can combine lists and you can see, okay, this is a tired landlord who is, going through a divorce or facing bankruptcy, and he's got liens against his property. This guy is super motivated to sell, right? So it's really cool. Like you can do that kind of stuff, but don't worry about this if you're just getting started and brand new. You only need this once you have a large amount of lists that you're pulling. But my point is, guys, you want to target the motivated homeowners right now. Those are the only people who are really wanting to sell, is the ones with significant motivation, senior owners, tired landlords. That's who your target is right now.
So let me ask you a question while we're on that, Chris.
Yeah.
Would you personally, if you were new and you were going to do this, would you pick one of those niche lists, or would you do multiple niches?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. So it really just depends on your budget. But what I probably would do is I would probably pick either senior owners or tired landlords, and I would market to one of those lists, right? Okay. And if let's say you're in a situation where you don't have money for a dialer and you just want to do this the old school gritty way, you can still get PropStream, right? You can pull some of these really small lists, like someone who is going through foreclosure and they live out of state and they have liens against their property. You can do that easily in PropStream, and it'll be like 10 or 15 leads, maybe 50. And then you just use truepeoplesearch.com. It's a free site you can go to find phone numbers for sellers, and you just call them and find out they're interested in a cash offer on their property. That's what I would do, right? Yeah. So we talked about skip tracing. So putting phone numbers to lists. This is a great source right here. If you go to this link, you can get skip tracing for 6 cents a piece, right? So that's like my gift to you guys. You can do that and save a ton of money there. And it's some of the best skip tracing you can get, some of the most accurate phone numbers. Highly recommend it. Keep in mind, guys, for those of you who haven't got a deal yet, I want you to remember contacts lead to contracts, okay? Contacts lead to contracts. So if you are not, getting deals, you're not You're simply just not talking to enough people. You're not making enough contacts. The more contacts you make, the more contracts you're going to get. Dave, any questions so far? I'm happy to answer some of those.
Oh, we got a lot of questions coming in, man.
Oh,
I didn't
great.
know if you want to. I told them we were going to answer them at the end. If you want me to shoot you some now, I can.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what. Let's finish up, and then
Okay.
we'll go through and answer the questions. So we're going to get to all those guys.
Okay.
Let's talk about the 4 pillars of motivation. All right. So this is super important. How do you tell if a seller's motivated? Right? On every single call, I want you guys getting the 4 pillars of motivation. So this is price, it's timeline, motivation, and condition. How much do they want for the property? You know, like how soon are they looking to sell the property? Why do they want to sell the property? And what's the condition of the property? And if you can get those 4 things, okay, you can get those 4 things, then guess what? You have all the info you need to find out if that seller's motivated and the type of chance you have of making it happen. But regardless, always make the offer. Don't pick and choose who you're going to make offers to. Make the offer every single time. You got to control what you can control, and that's it. Okay? The 80 to 90%, 80% 90 rule. Okay, so I'm going to give you guys a quick hack. Okay, so I want you to whip out a pen real quick, okay? And I want you to write this down. You can instantly know if a seller is motivated. Well, before I say this, how many of you guys would like to know within 5 minutes being able to tell if a seller is motivated or not, and if you have a solid chance of getting that property? Go ahead and type something in the comments. Say me in the comments if you want to know.
Or yes.
Yeah.
And everybody better answer that.
Yeah. Because guys, this is gold right here. This is totally gold. It took around 600 deals to figure this out. But I'm gonna give it to you.
Come on. Yeah, everybody, come on. Everybody needs to be able to tell if somebody's motivated and
all right, so let's dive into it. Right. So here's
everybody. Guys. I think everybody said yes.
Good stuff. I love it. All right. So here's what I want you guys to do. When you have a property you're looking at, and I want you to do this for the properties you're looking at today. Okay. So when you pull up a property, I want you to pull it up on Zillow. And when you ask the seller how much they're hoping to get for their property, I want you to look at the Zestimate. Okay. And I want you to multiply that Zestimate times 80%. If the seller is asking, their asking price is within 10 grand of that number, okay, then you have a seller that's motivation tick number 1. Because if they're already asking a discounted price, chances are they're going to work for you. And what we found is these type of leads, 1 out of 10 close, okay? So this is huge, huge, all right? The second piece of this, and you ask the seller, let me ask you a question, Mr. and Ms. Seller, how soon are you looking to sell? You know, and if they say, or if you got a number you'd be happy with, you know, how quickly would you want to sell, right? At that point, if they say, you know, 90 days or less, that combo right there of within 10 grand of 80% in 90 days, that is a smoking hot combo. And those sellers are ready to make it happen and move forward with you, right? So if you handle that call the right way through the rest of it, you're going to get that contract, and that's going to be a smoking red hot deal for you. So within 10 grand of 80% of his estimate. So how that works, let's say the house $100,000. If that seller is asking anywhere from $80,000 to $90,000, that is a smoking red hot deal. Okay. So, and remember guys, lastly, the offer that you don't make is the offer they can't take. So if you're not doing deals, ask yourself, are you making offers? This is a contact sport. Contacts lead to contracts, right? You got to make offers to be able to get deals. The offer you don't make is the offer they can't take. Okay. We'll dive into this one here. We're going to hit this really quick. So selling the deal, right? How do we do it? If you're brand new, I recommend signing up for a MailChimp account. It's free, and you want to start building your buyers list that way. I think they allow up to 500 contacts. Wholesalers don't do repair estimates. Do not do this. When you're first getting started, you want to know a big way to kind of hurt your reputation and deal with a lot of flack from buyers is start telling them, when you've never renovated a house, start telling them how much a kitchen remodel is. Don't do it. Wholesalers should never be doing repair estimates. You're not a contractor. Your buyers know it, and they're going to use it against you to reduce your fee. Okay, so don't do that. Do not do buyers how much repairs are. if you want to know what to say when a buyer says, how much do you think it's going to, what are the repairs? They're not asking you because they want your contractor bid on the property. They know how much it's going to take, but they want to see if you're going to overshoot it, which you always will, right? And they're going to say, oh, see, that's why I can't pay that price. Even if it's a great deal for them, they're going to do that. Yeah. So here's what I want you to say. When a buyer says, hey, what do you think the repairs are on this one, right? I want you to tell them, it doesn't matter. What does it mean? I'm not doing the remodel. Boom. That's it. He's going to be like, oh, okay. But what do you think? Again, I'm not fixing up the house. You're fixing it up. My numbers could be different. So I can't give you an estimate. I'm not a contractor, right? So if you're not a contractor, or if you haven't remodeled at least 10 houses, you have no business doing repair estimates. Okay. That can fluctuate so much to people.
And if you either, whoever you have go out to the property, if they take a ton of pictures, right? Mm-hmm. If, because when I would go to a property, you're doing a boots on the ground kind of thing, I would take 120 pictures, right? Roof, the front, the back, the sides, the rooms, the floor, the ceiling, all that stuff. And you send those pictures to anybody that's experienced, and they know what the rehab's going to cost them.
100%. Give me 1 second. I have to just send a quick email because there's a person I was going to meet with here in a minute, but I have to just let him know that I'm running a little bit. Give me 1 second.
I told you when you said 30 minutes. I'm like, Chris.
I know. Hang on, this is good though. Give me 1 second.
Hey guys, while he's doing that, I want to tell you, that's one of the reasons why I started Wholesaling Partners, is because there's a lot of bad education out there and people that say, just get a good deal and you can sell it. You don't need a buyer's list and all that. And there's a lot of garbage out there. And one of the things that I want to do with the platform and with the state leaders that, I'm trying to bring on is just get, a good group of people that know this business well, that can teach you well, instead of learning how to wholesale on TikTok or on Instagram reels. Let's 100%. Get in here and do some events like this where you guys can really learn how to do this.
Absolutely. 100%. So sorry guys, I had to take that a second, but no, 100% guys, you want to learn from the right place. So just consider the source where you're learning from. This stuff is stuff that we've been doing for years, have been in the business for around 10 years. And, it's taken a lot of time to put this together for you, but I want to deliver the goods here when I'm on with David, and want to make sure we deliver quality content for you guys. You can take action right away. Okay. So no repair estimate. So qualified buyers, right? So you want to qualify buyers based on experience, funding type, and how quickly can they close. So there's a lot of people out there that'll say, hey, you should go ahead and ask a buyer 100 questions before you add them to your list. Don't do that. Just ask them, hey, are you looking to buy a house in this area? Yes, I am. Fantastic. Are you mainly looking to fix or flip or buy and hold? He's going to say fix and flip or buy and hold. Fantastic. Phone number and email will get you added to my list, right? When you have people out there saying you want to get bank statements from the buyer showing proof of funds and everything before you even have a deal, guys, they're going to laugh at you. They're going to be like, I'm not sending you proof of funds. You don't even have a deal yet, right? Then it's going to put the pressure on you. So don't worry about that. Just all you want to do is have just a person-to-person conversation with them. Ask them where they're buying. Are they looking to close with cash or hard money? He'll tell you that, and what types of properties he's looking for, and then add them to your list. Get their phone number and email, add them to your list. Right? That's all you got to do. Next thing is for virtual selling deals. A lot of people ask me that question. They're like, Chris, so how do you sell your properties when you're virtual, right? So what we do is we have our property inspectors, so our realtors, oversee the group showings, right? We do group showings, and we basically set those typically a week after we get the property under contract, and our property inspector oversees that. They're 30 minutes in and out, and they oversee them. They deal, right? And so that's how we do it. And that also makes sure that the buyer doesn't talk directly with the seller. That's their goal, okay? At the end of the showing, we accept highest and best offer that day, and we close and get paid. And that's it. So that's all we do there when it comes to selling deals. We keep it very simple. We're building our buyers list every day. Guys, you want to add 5 buyers to your list every single day, okay? That's 25 a week, 100 a month. Take 30 days to get you there. And I promise you, if you do that every single day, over the course of a year, you'll have like 1,200 buyers on your list by the end of the year. And that's just if you spend an hour a day doing that. You could probably do more. So, so that's what I have for you guys today with the 5 baby steps to wholesaling houses from home anywhere in the country. Now, before I get to the next steps here, I'd like to go through and answer some questions. So let's fire those off.
Let's do it. Let me scroll back up here. Let's see. Jeanette asks, what does a deal look like when a realtor brings a buyer to the deal?
I'm sorry, say it again. What does the deal look like when a realtor brings a buyer to the deal? What we typically do is we tell our realtors to add their fee on top. Okay. So if a realtor wants to make a $5,000 commission and we have a $180,000 sales price, then they would need to bring it to their buyer at $185,000.
Okay.
Okay. So here's the thing, guys. I'm not an attorney. How do you get around the DNC list? I'm not an attorney. And any information I give you is for educational purposes only. So there's my disclosure, right? Here's the thing, guys. I have the best attorney in the country for telemarketing, right? He actually, a lot of these companies that you see out there, a lot of popular softwares out there, that's who they use. So what I'll tell you is what he told me, okay? He told me that being that we are not selling anything over the phone, we're trying to get the seller to sell something to us. It's up to you if you want to filter through the DNC list. So I'll let you read through the lines there, but it's up to you, right? Now, if you're cold calling for cash buyers, that's a different story because you are trying to sell something to them, right? So you would need to filter with that. But when it comes to sellers, there's a bit of gray area there. So it's up to you and whatever you feel comfortable with. One thing that I would recommend filtering regardless is litigators. Even though it's not a problem, litigators are just people who are serial entrepreneurs, but they just like to sue people, right? So you want to filter through those, and some of the platforms out there, there's free sources you can do, and you can do that. So a great dialer, this is a great question. If you go to risedialer.com, R-I-S-E dialer.com, that's a great dialer. And it's the one that we use and have been using for the last 5 years. And it's pretty amazing. It's like $150 a month, unlimited minutes for outbound calls, and it can dial pretty quick. So we love that dialer.
Very cool. All right.
No, because we don't do creative financing. We focus on one thing, and that's wholesaling, and that's it. I find that when you start getting into multiple exit strategies, it's going to be the formula for a small business, and it just kind of throws a monkey wrench into things, right? Because you start looking at all the different ways you can make a deal happen, and that's time that you could spend like working with another seller. So we don't do in wholesaling.
Yeah, again, like we were talking about, keeping with like residential properties and not going after like, gas stations and motels and commercial property. Keep it simple, right? You pick your strategy and stick with it, right? All right.
Is there a certain age of senior citizens that's too old? Rather than contacting the senior citizen, you reach out to an adult child? No. I mean, most people that sell their houses most people that sell their houses on the senior owner list, they're going to be 60, 70 years old, which is kind of like our ideal range, 55 to 70. I only see this as a problem when they're 80 plus and they may need someone to make decisions for them. But believe it or not, I could probably count on 2 fingers how many times we've had sellers in that situation.
Gotcha. So unless they're like a super old politician in Congress or Senate or whatever that just can't think anymore, right? You're here.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
Criteria for the list. Maybe we'll get into that on another call. That's kind of a deep question, right? To break into that.
The one thing I'll tell you though, when you do select that list in PropStream, it selects all the criteria for you. So all you got to put on there is like equity, basically. How much equity you want in the property.
I push Deal Machine a lot because they have you can build lists and they've got all the filters and the phone numbers and the emails and all that. So, I mean, like if somebody had one of the other PropStream Deal Machine, you
just need to pull a list of senior owners. So if Deal Machine is,
for any criteria, right? You use PropStream, you like the data and it's a good thing. But if you've got something else, I mean, you can get information, you can get that data from another
100%
system. Let's see. I'm scrolling down. Okay, here's a good one.
Okay, how do you get cash buyers, and how do you make sure they don't backdoor you and go straight to the seller, especially on properties that are on market? So, so here's the thing. We get cash buyers from Facebook groups. Facebook groups are amazing for building a cash buyers list. So that's one of the top ways we do it. Other ways we do it is we use PropStream to look out who bought certain properties, and then we use skip tracing to find their phone number. And we call them and see if they want to be added to our list. But that's the main ways that we add cash buyers to our list. And as far as backdooring you, they can't. You have a contract. So if you know your rights under that contract, a buyer can't do that. So most wholesalers don't know their rights. And that's the reason why these things happen and they lose hundreds of thousands of dollars on deals. That's a whole nother topic for a different day. But what I can tell you is if you have a contract signed with a seller, it's not toilet paper like the sellers like to believe it is sometimes. And you have rights. And unless both people agree to cancel that contract, it's a binding agreement and they're bound to it.
Yeah. What I always tell people, when somebody gets a contract and then the seller ghosts them, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then they can't get a hold of them. I tell people, you didn't have a deal, right?
Yeah.
They weren't sold on you. And chances are they signed that just to get you to go away, right?
Yep. And there's some things that you can do. This is a big issue for people who are getting started in virtual wholesaling, right? So sometimes like people will sign a contract with a seller and they won't talk to them for like 2 weeks, because they're looking for a buyer, and they call them like, hey, I'm ready to get inside the property. And the seller won't even pick up the call. Come to find out they signed with another person. So you got to keep that communication chain going.
100%. Hey guys, too, I want to mention while we're on this question, in Wholesaling Partners, I did a video and it's like how to build your cash buyer list on autopilot. Mm-hmm. And I talk about creating your own local Facebook group for investors and wholesalers. And then there's like software, it's called Group Collector, where you can actually, when somebody signs up to your group, you're asking them, are you a wholesaler? Are you an investor? What's your email address? And it will automatically put it in your MailChimp account or your ConvertKit account or whatever. So you do something like that and you don't even have to do anything. It's just automatically building it for you. So
100%. That is an amazing idea. I highly recommend that.
Yeah.
Be the authority.
Yeah, be the authority, right? And then you can drop in other valuable content and build that authority with them, right?
100%.
All right, a couple more real quick here.
So as a wholesaler, do you take the cost of rehab into your offer or not? So yes and no. So here's the thing, right? So we have a very specific way we go about this, but I'm going to give you the Cliff Notes version of it. If you can get a deal 55% of the value of the property in its best possible condition, you're good to go, right? And we found that most buyers buy properties roughly around 68% of that number anyway. So that's an overly simplified version of how we do it. So when you do it that way, you're kind of taking repairs into consideration, but at the same time, it's just easier because you're not worrying about how much kitchen cabinets cost or how much new toilets or fixtures cost throughout the house, right? So no, we have a unique formula called our easy offer method, and we use that to put together offers for sellers.
All right. This one's directed at me and I want to answer it real quick. So I don't get political. All right. It was a joke. And I was making fun of all politicians, not a certain group of politicians.
They're all created equal.
Not one or another. They're all, in my opinion, they all should learn when to retire, right? It's not just one of them, but it's like, it was a joke, everybody. Yeah. So, all right. Tyron wants you to say the name of the dialer again. It was Rise.
Go to Rise. Yeah. RiseDialer.com, RISE dialer.com.
Yeah. All right. One more here. Let's see.
Mm-hmm. Do you care about another wholesaler picking your deal and remarket it, basically just skimming off your deal, not a JV agreement? So here's the thing. So this is a lack of professionalism that I find out there. Wholesalers push, guys, I've had my own deals. People try to sell me back my own deals for like 20K more. And I'm like, come on, like, don't do that. There's a lot of coaches out there, a lot of courses that'll say, oh, just go on Craigslist and grab a deal. They're all out there. Just pick one up and pick if you got a buyer, then contact the wholesaler. No, that is a great way to burn relationships. And if a wholesaler catches you pushing their deal without their permission, that's going to make them upset. It would make me upset, right?
Yeah.
So the good wholesalers, they know this is a relationship business, and you need to reach out and talk to them, express interest in bringing in a buyer for their deal, and tell them you like to work with them, right? And they'll let you know if it's okay or not. And at least that way, if you do bring a buyer, you have a shot at getting it done, right?
Right. And again, that's what Wholesaling Partners is about. Yeah. And I want people to be above board, or, state your intent, right? I have buyers. I've got a deal I need to get rid of. You have buyers. Let's work together, right? None of this daisy chain and stuff and sending out other properties.
That's what aggravates buyers too. So if you want to also ruin your reputation with buyers, try to sell them a deal that once they say yes, like you can't get control of, and you can't even figure out how you're going to get the closing table, right? So when you see buyers talking about daisy chains and Facebook groups, that's what they're talking about. Inexperienced wholesalers pitching other people's deals. They have no control over, no paperwork in place, and they are just trying to get deals done. And it makes a bad rep for everybody.
Yeah, this is for me.
Oh, yeah.
The video is, you know what? Let me drop the link to it really quick. I think I have it on YouTube here. Let me find it really quick, guys. So anyway, Chris, I appreciate you doing this today. Again, we're going to do this on a weekly basis.
Yep.
And get on here and just drop good information. You do, for anybody that wants to fast track this, Chris does do private training. He doesn't take everybody, right? It's kind of like only if it's a good fit for you. So do you want to kind of drop that, Chris? And
let's dive into that. So guys, next step. So if you've liked what you've heard today and you really want to take this to the next steps and next level, and you want to really dive in and get rocking and rolling with virtual wholesaling, start wholesaling house from home, I do have an opportunity for you to work with me. If you go to virtualwholesalingmadesimple.com, ignore the link where it says /coaching. It's just virtualwholesalingmadesimple.com. I want you to go ahead and fill out an application and be detailed in your responses, guys, because I don't just take on anybody. And I'm really looking to find out what you're looking to accomplish to make sure we're a good fit. And if we like what you have to say, we'll consider bringing you on as a client. But I look forward to connecting with you, look forward to talking with you and showing you how to start wholesaling house from home anywhere in the country and creating financial freedom through wholesale real estate. So there's a lot of other options for you to get in touch with me as well. But yeah, go ahead and apply for coaching, and I'll look forward to connecting with you.
Awesome. I don't think you can click the link on that, the video that I just dropped. If you go to YouTube and
I can post it in the comments here. Give me 1 second. So
did it come up?
Yeah, over here. Wholesaling Made. This in the comments for you guys. Boom. So what I want you guys to do too, I want you to, when you go to the site there and you go to schedule a call, there's going to be a spot there that says, how did you hear about me? Right. Or how did you hear about us? And what I want you to do there, guys, is I want you to enter wholesaling partners there. So I have something special for anybody that comes through Dave. It's a $500 value. Okay. And if I take you on as a client and we start working together, you'll get that. And trust me, it's going to be worth it. Most people charge a lot more for the thing I'm going to be giving away for $500, but it's an incredible value for you. And that's going to be yours if you just fill out wholesaling partners in the referral field. And that way I know you came from wholesaling partners and I'll take care of you.
Yeah. And again, guys, we're going to do these calls. We're going to get on here every week and drop good information, for your virtual wholesaling journey. If you want to accelerate that, right, that would be a good time to talk to Chris, because
100%.
Chris has everything set up as far as VAs and dialers and the system and the process and all that stuff. So if you just want to fast forward and not try to stumble through it yourself, that's when you say, hey, I need to get on there and talk to Chris and figure this out. So
100%. I mean, what it does, guys, for you is it cuts your learning curve. When I first started, I was always big in investing in my own education because I knew that I'd rather learn from the mistakes of somebody else than try and figure it out and fumble through myself. There's a lot of people out there that are like, oh, just go on YouTube and just watch all the videos on YouTube. But that's great. But only 1% of 1% of people can actually do that, right?
Yeah.
So you want to go in, you want to have a clear, if you're looking for a clear path to get to your next deal. So you know exactly how many number of calls you need to make, how many leads you need to get, where to get the leads, what to do step by step. And that would be a good opportunity for us to work together.
Well, it's called role modeling, right?
Yes.
Find somebody that's been successful for doing it and then find out exactly how they did it. Right.
100%.
And then boom, done.
Yep.
So everybody, thank you for being here again. You know, glad you all could show up. If you haven't joined Wholesaling Partners, do it. Get in there because we're streaming on other places, right? YouTube and all that. But join my.wholesalingpartners.com, and great community. We're growing fast and we're getting all these great people like Chris in there. So we look forward to having you there. So that's it, guys.
Awesome. Thank you, Dave. I appreciate your time today. And I'm looking forward to just bringing loads of value to the community and, you know, just sharing how people can get to the next deal quickly.
Absolutely. All right, guys. Talk to you in a bit.
Yep.
Bye.
Guys.